BIOPLUS and own your future this exam season. BIOPLUS for physical energy and mental vitality.
Yep, sometimes we just need a little extra motivation, and chances are during exam time it's got to come from you. Implementing healthy habits can be difficult because you don't even know where to start. It feels like we're climbing a mountain. But when you need a helping hand, we call in the experts to discuss these pressing issues, brought to you by BIOPLUS. And I've loved these conversations. I've certainly leant on them a lot. And here to explore this topic a little bit more, our panel of experts today, life coach and psychometrist Jamie Brink, I got a nod there, and transformational life coach Paulo Mendes. Thank you so much for being here. We're in the trenches now. It's a very difficult time to preach balance when you are so stressed out because it feels like your life is being gatewayed through one test, one exam, one moment in time, and you are so young, you don't even know what your future is. Finding balance, and I'll put this to both of you because I think this becomes a deeply personal thing, but you guys have got a toolkit to hopefully be able to empower us. But what does that look like, maybe, Jamie, in your own practice of that self-dialogue and managing what you, because you take on other people's stresses, which is quite a stressful thing in itself. How do you find balance?
Yeah, I think it's such a good question because balance looks differently for everyone. But I always say that when we want to balance our life, and especially when we're experiencing stress and, elevated anxiety, the balance we can bring is making sure that we're doing things that we really enjoy as well, and that really makes us feel good, whether that's on a day-to-day basis or on weekends, but bring into balance.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's different for everyone, but make a list of the things that you really enjoy, and then make sure that you start planning when I'll do those activities.
Actually make them real.
I'm going to go for that walk this week, every second day, or I'm going to have a coffee with a friend, but start implementing just short events where you can really feel good and remind yourself why life is actually good.
And it sounds bad that you've got to force yourself to do things that make you feel good, but this is where we are in the world right now. These are little hacks. I'm glad you used the word short, because it feels like a short circuit. There is an opportunity. We're not talking about climbing the mountain. Yes, your schooling, your career, your future is a mountain to climb, but just taking a step back, going for a coffee is just one small little thing. And then after that hour, you're like, oh, wow, I'm a new person. You get off that bike, you're like, wow, I'm a new person. How important is that element to almost train our brain to become used to de-stressing? How do we get that part of this very active, practical equation right?
Well, the old proverb is 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step.
I love
How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. So the important thing is to remember that you're starting out. Take your time, pace yourself. Remember, you don't want to sprint out and run out of energy in the last minute. So take your time, go through the process. You're gonna wake up to exercise the night before. Put your training shoes next to the bed. Put your gym clothes next to the bed. So you're ready to it. You got an
Go through the route in your head.
So prepare your mind for it. And think of the rewards, think of the benefits. Don't think of the effort, think of what you're doing it for.
And I think it's worth young people who are going through this, or anyone going through an exam or a test process, is often you're learning how to learn, not necessarily the subject matter is vitally important for this particular gateway, but where you really lean on it in life is knowing how to learn, knowing yourself, knowing your pressure points, knowing your weaknesses in that space. You need a team around you during exam time, and my mother was amazing at that, because I think I was quite a difficult prospect to get me to concentrate in that space, and she knew me well. Diet was a massive part. As a family, how do we support someone who's writing exams, and the big ones right now, your year-end exams, to end your schooling? This is a massive, I use the term gateway, this is a big one to walk through. How can a family be more supportive with nutrition, with advice, with the way that we are? How do we help those going through these moments?
I think a good way to start is to have a conversation and to say, how can I support you during this time? And be specific for the week ahead. Say to them, I want to support you. What can I do this week to support you? Because that's going to change. Next week, it might look different. Perhaps they need you to prepare some meals for them. Perhaps they need you just to go buy some snacks so that they always have a snack.
Just leave me alone, Dad. Just leave me alone.
Because I think it's very stressful for the student, but it's even more stressful for the parents and the partners. So we have to have those conversations to make sure that we are checking in with one another.
That being said, how do I not, I've used the term baggage a few times this morning, as a parent who might not have, or felt like maybe I missed an opportunity during my own exams, discovered my potential after school and realized that every parent that ever spoke to me or every adult teacher was right, that I was underperforming according to my potential. But how do I, as a parent, then not pass that stress, my own anxiety, all of those items of luggage onto my child during this time? And they should just be focused, hyper-focused on what they're doing.
That is such a great point, and we live in a society that is so performance-driven. We tend to, as parents, I have 2 teenage boys, we tend to put our pressures and expectations on them, and rather spend quality time with them. Yes, focus on the results, focus on what they need to achieve, but go from a point of, like you said, you're learning to learn, it's your life, you're building the opportunities that are coming ahead. So don't do it because you have to pass a test, do it because you want to learn and be the best version of yourself. And then touching on nutrition, keep simple, fuel the body.
Yeah.
Eat to fuel your body, and then get the energy to do what you need to do.
Because that's another way, it's a practical thing that you can do on the positive side of this equation. You don't have to solve the world's issues, figure out the history of the Rhinelands or anything like that. You just have to eat a good meal. Yes. A positive step in the right direction, positive reinforcement in the brain. You should be tough on yourself because this does matter. And I think the biggest regret you'll have is not when you do badly in the exam and disappoint someone else, but when you yourself know that you could have done better and you carry those sorts of markers with you. I can remember before my Latin final exam, which I had no business passing whatsoever, listening to Pavarotti, Nessun Dorma, and it worked. It actually got me up to that point that I needed to be. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but there are ways that you can plug into that you can elevate yourself. What does that look like? Let's get practical here for the students that are going through it right now.
So I think to touch on what you just said, bringing in music while you get ready for the day or while you jump into the shower, listen to uplifting music. Make sure that you go for a walk every second day, even if it's just for 20 minutes.
Green energy.
Absolutely, in the park or at the beach. You know, if students sit for long periods of time indoors while they're studying, so if they can get their body moving again, that can really help to re-energize and refuel. Make sure you're drinking enough water. I think always having a bottle of water at hand or in the fridge, mom and dad can keep it in the fridge so that they can grab and go. Yeah, so activities like that, spending time with friends also, just a little break to laugh a bit and talk about other things so that when you slot back in behind the desk, you feel re-energized and ready to focus again.
Go outside and step barefoot in the grass or in the soil. Discharge the electrical energy from your body and reset. That is so important. We forget that. Right. And some people love music. I get turned on and tuned in with sound music.
For sure.
My wife doesn't work with that. My wife does mind mapping.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Afrikaans thing, mind mapping, and then helps her focus and assimilate information for the exams. So we are different. Don't compare yourself with other people. Find your rhythm and then go with it.
Oh, completely. And that's called being practical in the space. For the mind mapping, I'm going to say to Tony Buzan, I think originated the mind map many moons ago. Thank you for helping me through my exams. It's about finding the right fit for yourself. So I would spend time with your friends. Don't talk about the tests and the subject unless they're your study partners. It's just going to freak you out. But take a step back. Okay, there is a reason why these things are stressful, because they matter not to everybody else, but to you. So give it its importance, but learn how to take a step back. Your life is not going to end if this doesn't go the way that you're intending. You can manage your expectations, and you can also give yourself that energy when you need it. And a little bit of help, maybe some motivation, courtesy of BioPlus. We're going to put 2,000 Rand up for grabs, and this is how you can enter.
A go-to for physical energy and mental vitality when you need it most. BioPlus is going one better, offering 6 viewers the chance to each win 2,000 Rand cash to own their future. Catch Expresso weekdays from November the 6th to November the 22nd and reply to the competition post on Expresso's socials and include the hashtag BioPlusExam. Competition closes November the 22nd. T's and C's on expressoshow.com.